Have you ever felt terrorised? I have. Whenever people have been aggressive towards me, either physically, verbally, or with emotional and psychological manipulation. I know we're living in a time where there's a lot of talk about terrorism, but it also feels like there's a lot of shape-shifting around what it means and who it applies to. There are a few men who used to be on a terrorist list, but are now in government positions. Have they been de-radicalised effectively? Or is it because they used to be terrorists that they've been given the jobs they now have? A sort of strategic move, like a chess game. My curiosity guided me to the UK government website to find out how terrorism is defined. I found a document titled Prevent Duty Guidance, where authorities and organisations are told what you must and should do. It's guidance for those who are likely to engage with people who may be susceptible to radicalisation, and it helpfully sets out objectives, a delivery model, and gives us an overview of threat and risk. Its first objective is to tackle the ideological causes of terrorism. It appears to single out Islamist ideology and the resurgence of right-wing ideology. Some reasons given online for why right-wing parties may have gained traction globally are given as response to economic challenges, immigration issues, and dissatisfaction with traditional political establishments. It is said the rise of right-wing parties reflects a growing sentiment against globalisation and a push for stronger national identities. I watched a few things recently, and I wondered whether any of what we're about to watch might reasonably fulfil the descriptions within the Prevent Duty document I mentioned.
Gaza is not of the Palestine, it's our land.
Why Gaza?
I am religious and I believe in the Bible. I need to take these pieces. I have to live there. Why? Because it's mine. I want what belongs to me.
What's your feeling about what is happening to the Gaza people now?
I don't have feeling.
Do you have empathy that it's bad for the people there because they're bombed and killed?
They can't take their legs and go out.
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק. הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
כמו שעבד בצפון, הוא צריך לעבוד בדרום, ולהשאיר את עזה ללא ערבים, ולהקים התיישבות יהודית בכל חבל עזה. כאשר אומרים ביישובי העוטף שרוצים לראות את הים, זאת אומרת, כדי לראות את הים צריך שלא יהיו בתים. כן. לא יהיו בתים, לא יהיו ערבים, רק זו דרך אלגנטית, רומנטית כזאת, לומר, אני רוצה לראות את הים. איך תראה את הים? לא יהיו בתים, לא יהיו ערבים, תראה את הים. הרעיון הוא עזה יהודית. אליעזר בן יהודה הקים לפני 110 שנים בית ספר יהודי בעזה. עזה זאת לא עיר חמאס. עזה זאת אחת מערי ארץ ישראל. אנחנו פשוט חוזרים, היה עיוות היסטורי, ועכשיו מתקנים אותו. זה גם לא משנה מה שנתניהו אומר עכשיו. לא תהיה יותר אפשרות לערבים משום סוג לשלוט בעזה. זה נגמר.
In a poll, this particular population came in at 50% in favour of a genocide and 70 to 75% saying there are no innocents in Gaza. The current opposition leader in Israel has said that the IDF kill children as a hobby. I did a little research to find out what might have contributed to such language and behaviour, and I came across an Israeli academic called Nurit Peled El-Hanan, who's written a book called Palestine in Israeli School Books, Ideology and Propaganda in Education. Let's take a listen to an interview with her describing what children in Israel learn at school.
Let's talk about how Israel's school system is teaching a generation of young people to hate Palestinians. paving the way for genocide.
In Israeli consciousness, Palestinians do not exist. They don't tell you the whole story. That's why I told the lies my teachers told me.
So what is the indoctrination she's talking about? Professor Peled El-Hanan had to unlearn much of what she was taught about her society. She has analyzed hundreds of textbooks used across multiple decades in Israeli schools. And what she found was systematic erasure and dehumanization.
They never talk about Palestinian people, the culture, their way of life, the things they do. Visually, the Arabs or Palestinians citizens are either the very primitive farmer, the kind of Alibaba with a camel, or the terrorist. You don't see any photograph of a Palestinian or Arab human being like us.
And the result of an education like that, it looks like this.
I just think we need to kill them, every one of them, and that's it. The least we can do is just kick them out of our land, because this is our home, this is our land, and we deserve it.
Israel is a nuclear empire, really, and its army is one of the strongest in the world. Somehow does not filters in to this mentality of victimhood. We are the victims, we are small, we are weak, we must be protected.
And Professor Peled El-Hanan says that Israel teaches children that the threat of another Holocaust is real and immediate. Palestinian resistance is then often portrayed as a continuation of Nazi hatred.
They teach them that what happened to the Jews in the Holocaust was because they didn't have a state and an army. And then they say, but today we have a state, we have an army, and we can defend ourselves. You could hear the same things after the 7th of October from the president of Israel and from the prime minister and such people who said, these new Nazis, I mean, they wanted to exterminate us because we were Jews. Okay, so this is very strong. We must keep a Jewish majority, lest the minority, which is the Arabs, the Palestinians, grow and become genocidal.
Israeli children as young as 10 in the 4th and 5th grades even received firearms training with M16 rifles during summer camp, located in illegal settlements in the occupied West Bank.
There's no universal point of view that's saying, let's stop killing. The idea is that if we don't kill them, they will come and kill us. So we have to not let them. We have to control them, we have to distance them, we have to confine them, and we have to eliminate them if there's a need for that. All colonialist states described the colonized in a racist way, as if they were a race of primitive, vile, and really superfluous people. Who needs them? Unnecessary.
By reinforcing the fear of another Holocaust, Peled El-Hanan says that Israel is able to teach children that violence is not just acceptable, but necessary.
The basic assumption that we have a historical and natural right on the land is very strong. It is our. It's very, very crucial in the education. This is our land and we are entitled to it. And whoever lives here is an invader. When you are taught that your neighbors are a danger, then you are also taught that you have to help to eliminate the danger.
Israeli children spend over 12 years in an education system that Professor Peled El-Hanan says prepares young Israelis for their compulsory military service.
And this we see in the confessions of soldiers in the organization Breaking the Silence, where soldiers confess about what they did until they had this crisis of consciousness. And they say, I was brought up to believe that everything I do to Palestinians will prevent another Holocaust, until I saw myself aiming at a little girl. And then suddenly I realized something was wrong.
And so this indoctrination leads to not just hate speech from politicians, but to the routine killing of Palestinians. Until that killing becomes so routine that Israel commits genocide.
If any of us were brought up with that type of ideology and propaganda, where we're actively advocating for the elimination of an entire ethnicity because we regard them as less than human, would that fall within the classification of this Prevent document? And if the answer's yes, how are we able to advocate for preventing terror in the UK at the same time as contributing to funding it elsewhere? Would that be regarded as mixed messaging, or gaslighting, or both? What are the psychological impacts of such mixed messaging? What are the psychological impacts of serving in the IDF and engaging in genocide and ethnic cleansing, whilst so-called First World leaders cheer it on? Let's take a listen to an ex-IDF soldier.
The IDF has not commented on these videos. It all comes as no surprise to Nadav Vyman.
Right, it's not a secret that the IDF can keep in Gaza. Right?
Vyman joined the IDF in the early 2000s as a sniper. Today, he runs an organization made up of former IDF soldiers who work to end the Israeli occupation. During his time in the military, Vyman says he was ordered to arrest Palestinian militants using what was then known as the neighbor procedure.
You come in the middle of the night, you take the neighbor, and you tell the neighbor, you knock on the door. You call him out. And if he's not answering, so you will open the door. Now, a lot of the times, that neighbor will get shot. And we were told as soldiers that it's better that he will get shot than us.
The Supreme Court of Israel later banned the practice in 2005, saying the procedure contradicts international law and that the civilian population is not to be used for the military needs of the occupying army. Fast forward to October 2023. Within weeks of the Israeli ground invasion in Gaza, Vyman says some Israeli soldiers reported to the organization what they were being ordered to do in the battlefield. And they came with what they claimed was photographic evidence. Vyman won't say just how many soldiers have turned to them, only that there are many.
They were ordered to use Palestinians as human shields. If you have soldiers from different units, different times of this year of fighting, and different areas in the Gaza Strip, northern Gaza Strip, center, south, saying the exact same thing and using the same phrasing, so obviously it's a widely used protocol by the IDF.
And when you say same phrasing, what exactly do you mean?
Cannot say.
For security reasons, Israeli military censorship laws won't allow him to answer that question publicly. That phrasing is known as the mosquito procedure, and the mosquito, or yatush in Hebrew, refers to the Palestinian being detained.
We heard from one of the soldiers that they asked their commanders, hey, what's going on over here? Why do I need to push a human being at gunpoint into a tunnel? And their officer told them that too many dogs in the IDF dog unit died.
So the Palestinian men are replacing animals, essentially.
Yeah, that's one of the soldiers said that. In other unit, they were told, listen, do you want to be blown up for my ID or a Palestinian? And in other units, the officer told them, let me take care of war crimes, right? And you will execute commands.
Human rights groups say the use of Palestinian civilians as human shields is nothing new, nor is it restricted to war-torn Gaza.
Let me ask another question. Look at these images. Now, if these were images of Kiev, how would the UK be dealing with Russia? But this is Kiev, not quite the crime scene that is Gaza. Now let's imagine the size of Gaza, which is approximately 26 miles long and 5 miles wide, or 141 square miles. It's smaller than the Isle of Wight in the UK, which is 147 square miles. It's smaller than Swansea in Wales, which is 146 square miles. And it's the size of Las Vegas, which is 141.9 square miles. In the first month after the 7th of October 2023, more Palestinian children were killed than in all the war zones in the world combined for 2019, 2020 and 2021. The minimum estimate is 20,000 children have been killed. And then we have the West Bank, where entitled people who view Palestinians as animals terrorize Palestinians and their families out of their homes and steal their houses and lands by beating them up, shooting them dead, all supported by the IDF, the most moral army in the world.
Over in Palestine's occupied West Bank, apartheid defines daily life.
I don't have any rights. In the country of the Israeli settlers who live close to my house illegally, they have more rights than me in my own neighborhood. They are under the Israeli civilian law with full civilian rights and political rights. And we, the Palestinians, who are living, in our land, we don't have any rights. Basic rights we don't have. We don't have enough water, enough electricity.
Now, if Russians were doing that anywhere in Ukraine, would that be acceptable? I'm sure the answer would be no. So why is it allowed to continue in Palestine? And then we have the dynamic duo of Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff serenading us about their master plan, which appears to have been in the works since around the time of October the 7th. It's quite a plan, which doesn't appear to feature many of those indigenous to the land.
Here is a master plan Jared's been working on for 2 years. So Jared Kushner and there's Joseph. And Witkoff, which is Trump's special envoy to get this Gaza thing fixed, not doing a great job. So Kushner he yesterday revealed that they plan to rebuild Gaza before it was destroyed. They already had this plan, and this isn't a peace deal; it's a seizure of Palestine. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law, Jared. You want to hear it? Here it is.
We're working with a group of people who have been working on master plans for the last 2 years.
So there are plans already.
Yeah. We have plans already. We have a master plan already, and
for the last 2 years. So before they destroyed Gaza, they had a master plan. That would be called premeditated murder, I'm pretty sure. But again, the chosen ones are not subject to the regular laws of the universe. So let's listen to more.
And Jared's been pushing this, and we're working together.
So they've been pushing this. They had a master plan 2 years ago. 2 years ago is when the war started, before anybody knew what was going to happen. Apparently, they did know what was going to happen because they had a master plan. And the plan was to flatten Gaza, annex the West Bank, and then build the Trump Riviera. Did you see his face when he said it? Watch his face.
On master plans for the last 2 years.
Like, you're not supposed to say that. You said the quiet part out loud, dummy. You're not supposed to say that. Let's watch it again.
On master plans for the last 2 years.
Huh? Zoinks. So that's Trump's son-in-law talking about building waterfront property in Gaza. They've been planning this for a long time. Jared has been publicly talking about this master plan way before. So let's listen to him do this.
In Gaza's waterfront property, it could be very valuable to if people would focus on kind of building up livelihoods. You think about all the money that's gone into this tunnel network and into all the munitions. If that would have gone into education or innovation, what could have been done? And so I think that it's a little bit of an unfortunate situation there. But I think from Israel's perspective, I would do my best to move the people out and then clean it up. But I don't think that Israel has stated that they don't want the people to move back there afterward. The thing that I would try to do if I was Israel right now is I would just bulldoze something in the Negev. I would try to move people in there. I know that won't be the popular thing to do, but I think that that's a better option to do so that you can go in and finish the job.
Okay, so does he think that money? So he's talking about the money that they used to build tunnels. Does he think that money was supposed to go towards building up Gaza beachfront property? Because Israel drove suitcases stuffed with cash into Gaza to keep Hamas in power. So we all know that they're the ones who funded Hamas. Did they really think they were going to use that to build beachfront property? What did they think they were going to use that money for?
Tony Blair was the perfect choice for Gaza. Someone widely regarded as a war criminal might be more likely to turn a blind eye to war crimes. Is that the type of global change he's endeavouring to facilitate through his institute? His human rights lawyer wife must be beaming with pride. So we have the Americans and the British salivating at the money they're going to make by rebuilding Gaza. So we're not only allowing Palestinians to be raped physically in detention as well as being driven from their land, but the Americans and Brits can't wait to rape the land as well. Those who are drunk on power appear to love turning a blind eye to a bit of rapey action, whether it's the rape of people or lands. As long as it's being done by rich, titled and entitled people, who cares about those they deem beneath them? They're expendable. By funding and perpetuating any type of war, which by its very nature is a terrorizing activity, the rape and trafficking of people increases, and it also contributes to causing the refugee and immigration crisis that is an ongoing issue. Why are there so many immigrants and refugees? Because it appears that some Western countries, under multiple pretexts of regime change, have decided to bomb the shit out of other countries they want to rape of their natural resources. So rather than using diplomacy and trading to acquire the resources, they appear to prefer bombing people's lives, dreams and hopes, blowing them all to smithereens. Many years ago, when I was a young mother and struggling to put food on the table, I did a job with some other young women where we recorded various things for premium phone lines. Things like where people could find swinger parties and places people could go for their golden showers. I had no idea what that was until that job. But there was some seriously dark stuff which I refused to record. One of those things was information on where people could buy photographs of war victims, because that's what some people get off on. Now, those images are available online 24/7. How can we get any peace in the world if we're constantly filled with fear? When fear is employed, facts are incidental. Deeply seated in our biological drive to survive, that emotion of fear cannot be quickly wiped away with facts and figures. This is how terrorism works. It's not the statistical probability that one could get hurt by a terrorist, but it's the fear that it might happen that cripples a population. Might this be what's been happening in Israel for decades? Here's a little story about the Cherokee and two wolves. One evening, an old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The old Cherokee simply replied, "The one you feed." Anyway, time to get back to my arms dealer. See you next time.